Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to ARA's Lunch and Learn, and just kind of what to expect with your first ARA show experience. I am Shannon Dinwiddie, the Membership Experience Manager, and with me today I have Jill Holtzman. She is an owner of Hub City Display up in Saskatchewan, Canada. So I would love for Jill just to take a minute and tell you about a little bit about herself, how long she's been an ARA member, and about her very first ARA show experience.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Jill Holtzman up in Canada. I married into a family that owned a event rental business. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So I've been married for 30 years, and about 24 years ago, my husband came to me with this very long form that came from the ARA. Back in that day, you had to register on a paper form and sign everything you wanted to go to. And he said, "Can you sign us up for this?" He was planning on taking over his family company, and he knew he needed some help and thought this was the route to go. So handed me the paper, not knowing anything, and I just checked things off and signed us up for things. So we got, our first one was Anaheim, and we signed up for everything we could. We went to the educational sessions, and I was just getting my feet wet in this rental business. I'd get dragged into things, I'd be short-staffed, and all of a sudden I'd be coming, and I wasn't really sure what it was all about, but this gave me a good taste from talking to other people about what I was getting myself into. And the educational sessions, even though I was just starting out, they helped me personally. And I wanted to go to all the customer relations sessions, because they would put me on the phone, and that was where I was the most nervous. So it helped me talk to people on the phone, and then we could take things back to our staff and share that with them. So we got really great value, bang for our buck, going to the show, just attending the educational sessions alone. And then there's all these extras that were thrown in. We had keynote speakers, and there was always an event, still is, there's always a fun event we get to go to. So that gets thrown in there, and networking. And so the value we just felt was great. And so we've come back every year, except for one year, there was a huge snowstorm and we couldn't get to the show. So so our first show was Anaheim, like I said, and then we went to this fun event. They had booked out a whole theme park for us. And when I came in, I was just blown away. I thought we'd just be like a little part of this theme park, but they booked this whole section for us. And everywhere we turned, there was drinks and food and rental people. And I just couldn't believe that this was put on for us. And we just looked at it as a reward every year to come to this. And there'd be some professional takeaways, some personal takeaways. And it's just something we never want to miss.
I remember hearing that story, Jill, and that's why I asked you to join us today, because you always said, how special you felt from that event, and I loved hearing it every single time you told it. So
you guys continue to blow me away every year. Come there, and the staff is just so on top of everything. It's a flawless experience. And I know from being around a while, I know what work it takes to put this on, and we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah. If there's anybody not muted, if you wouldn't mind just doing that, that would be great. Thank you. So I just want to give kind of an overview of the schedule. So this year, the show is a little bit different as far as dating goes. It's going to start on Tuesday, and that will be January 28th. And that's a kickoff with the Future of Equipment Rental, which is a full day of...
So for forklift, in order to do the forklift,
a full day of specific education for those people in the equipment rental business. So if you're in event rental, this is not something you're going to want to participate in, but any size of business for equipment rental, this would be something that you would want to take a look at. It's a diverse lineup of speakers, interactive workshops, and great networking sessions. So this will be again on January 28th, Tuesday. So definitely something if you're looking to just have that really specific education around equipment. There's like a contractor session, some great breakaways. So there's a complete overview of the topics on the show website, and there's a downloadable show planner. So all this information that I'm going to go over today can be found at www.arashow.org. Just so you know, you can kind of take a look there. With that, then we follow into the regular education on Wednesday, the 29th. That is generalized education. So no matter what aspect of rental you're in, you can certainly participate in this education. Highly recommend it. I know I speak to many members who say that, you know, they leave there after participating in the education and just feeling really revitalized, ready to come back and work on their business. You know, they learned so much. There's always different topics and tracks that you can dig into. There's 16 different courses, 4 time slots, so you can pick and choose. If you're going with someone else in your business, you can kind of tag team those courses. But the good news is that if there's 2 courses in one particular time slot that you wanted to see or listen to, you're going to get those all, or at least most of them, in a podcast form about 8 weeks later. We're going to send you those in a link, and then you're going to have the opportunity to kind of review all of those. On occasion, there might be that 1 or 2 speaker that we aren't able to share their session with for whatever reason, but generally you're going to get most of those sessions in a podcast form. So, and that is if you've registered for the full registration. After that, then we go into, you know, the show floor will open up on Thursday then with the keynote speaker session. And the keynote this year is David Pogue. David is the CBS Sunday morning correspondent, or had been, and a renowned author, and I'm sure he's going to keep everybody entertained and enlightened. He's got a interesting perspective on science and technology, so highly recommend the keynote speaker session and you know, taking a look at that. Jill, you've been, you know, going to these shows for 24 years. What was your favorite keynotes that you ever had, and why?
Well, because I've been going so long, I can't just mention one. So I'm going to give you 3, but it's in no particular order. So one of them was Chris Garner. He was the movie Pursuit of Happiness was based on his life, and that I just related to on a personal level. And nobody could talk to me for about 20 minutes after. I was just so emotional. Just a great story. Another one was Aaron Ralston. He had an incredible survivor story of 127 hours being stuck in a rock, having to cut off his own arm. So that one was like just a crazy story to listen to. And my last one was Kevin O'Leary. And when the ARA first announced this guy, I was like, what? He's like the meanest guy in Canada on Shark Tank. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't sure about him. But then when he started talking and telling his story, I just loved it. So he happened to come to Saskatoon 3 weeks after the show, and we went and listened to him again. So sometimes like I just had a preconceived notion of how something was going to go, and turned out to be better than expected. So I guess keep an open mind, and it's always an incredible speaker. I've never really been disappointed. So I'd encourage you to go to the keynote.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing those experiences. So then after the keynote session, the show floor is going to open right up. Did you get through all 3? I'm sorry. Did you share all 3 of them? Okay. All right. Perfect. So yeah, the show floor is going to open up then, and then we'll have the industry awards lunch that day. If you have an opportunity to attend the industry awards lunch, you can stay on site, mingle, and celebrate, you know, outstanding ARA members who've really left an impact and a mark on the industry. It's also the time where we will celebrate people entering the Rental Hall of Fame. So just kind of take away, step back from the show floor for a minute, network a little bit, and have some food and see who has really, impacted the industry in some way, shape, or form. And then that night, of course, will be the opening reception. So this is something a little bit new this year. Typically, we have an event that does have a cost. This is going to be a completely free event, and it's going to be held on the Diamond Lot. And it is going to be at 5 p.m. immediately following the show closing that day. We're going to have some big band music, Vegas showgirls, vintage themed casino games. Let me spit that out. And a host of food trucks, and then everyone's going to have a couple drinks. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a great opportunity to network and, just really mingle with like everybody in attendance at the show. Jill, how important is it that, people attend these networking sessions, whether it be the women in rental breakfast, the young professionals, the opening receptions? Like, you've been coming to these for years. What do you get from this networking, and how important is it that they go to these things?
Well, at my first one, I have to say I was really nervous to attend any of them. I'm not somebody to go into a room of people I don't know and enjoy myself. So I kind of had to push myself to go. And when we went to our first regional reception, that's where we met people from our province, from our city. And, sometimes your competitors are in the room, and I didn't know what that was going to be like, but we actually built a better relationship because of that. We had dinner 2 weeks ago with our competitors, and that's not something that would have happened had we had not met each other at the ARA event. And then meeting people there, you start getting to know people, and that's how my husband and I got involved in the local. And then we both had the opportunity to serve on national boards from there. So having attended these, it brought us into that world. And I have to say, we had got more out of being on the board probably than we put into it. And I hear people say that all the time, but it is just something I wouldn't have naturally done. And it was just from meeting those people and getting kind of out of your comfort zone, or for me anyways, it brought us into that world, and it made us a better company having done that.
Yeah, I think the rental industry is definitely a unique group of people, right? You're competitors by day, you're having dinners and drinks together and sharing great ideas by night. But you're right, it's very important just to kind of to introduce yourself to people that you don't know, say hello, put yourself out there, take advantage of that opportunity to get to know some new people. I mean, I know you yourself have developed some lifelong friendships and relationships from these networking events.
We go on
So
personal trips with some of our friends we've made from area rental people. And I have to say that now that I've been around the block a time or two, if you are that person that is not shy to meet somebody, if you see someone sitting alone at a table, go introduce yourself, and you just never know where that might lead. And I can call up any of these people in every given day and ask them about a product or business advice. And there's always, rental people are always there to share their experiences and help. So I'd encourage you to get involved.
and I totally bypassed the regional receptions, which are going to be held on Wednesday evening following the education. Those are an amazing opportunity to network with people in your immediate area. So, if you're in Illinois, it's going to be like Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Michigan. So it's your particular regions. A chance to meet the people who are serving on the chapter relations committees in those areas. There'll be some awards for people that have, again, done some service and kind of made an impact in those areas. So a great opportunity to get together, mingle, have some food and drink, and build some of those personal and professional relationships. That's one of the things I always recommend to our members, definitely attending.
Can I just make one thing, Shannon? You
Yeah.
talked about women in rental breakfast. Sometimes there's
Yep.
confusion as to who can go, but everybody can go. There's lots of men there. men and women, and I think we sell out every year. I think we've even had 700 or 800 people there for breakfast. It's pretty incredible, and they have really good speakers too. So it's
Yeah.
it's open to everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point, definitely. Something new, we talked about the Diamond Lot Thursday with the reception, and the Diamond Lot is a new opportunity for us this year. There's actually going to be exhibitors in the Diamond Lot, about 120 exhibitors out there this year, with over 600 inside on the show floor. The show floor in all the space is completely sold out, so that's going to be a great opportunity to visit vendors and take advantage of some of that this year. But the Diamond Lot is going to have a opportunity to have see some exhibitor presentations. So in the show website and in the guide, you're going to see some time slots outlined in a schedule in there where exhibitors are going to give these quick 10-minute fun presentations on some new products that they're highlighting, things like that. As well as at the Diamond Lot, there's going to be pickleball, cornhole, there's going to be a beer garden, food trucks. And those are going to be, that's going to be open every day of the show floor out there, the same exact hour. So a good opportunity to just kind of, again, relax a minute, visit those vendors out there, but kind of take a deep breath and maybe sit down and relax for a second as well, regroup, gather your thoughts, make your game plan for where you want to go next or whatever the case may be. So that Diamond Lot is a great new experience. So be sure to check that out. As you head into Friday, like Jill mentioned, we have the Women in Rental Breakfast. So, and Bonnie's going to be the speaker down there. So definitely check that out. And as she mentioned, it is open to all participants of the show. After that, let's see, a couple other things we wanted to talk about is also the Young Professionals Cocktails and Contacts. That is also Friday on the 31st. So if you are between the ages of 18 and 40, that would be something you could participate in.
That's a very vibrant group. I was lucky to have 1 year in that. They started when I was 39. So I had 1 year in that, and it's just been growing since. And they have another event during the year where they have the opportunity to get together. And I know they just have a fabulous time, and a lot of them become close friends. So if you can join yourself, great. But like me, maybe a younger staff member, I can send them on. They make really good contacts that way.
Yeah, and both those groups are free to join. So another opportunity to take advantage of growing some relationships. So we've kind of reviewed the schedule. Want to move into just some like best practices and some other information about the show. One of the things is that really want to recommend getting your badge as early as you can when you get to the show. There, if you wait to try to get it, the morning of the education sessions or the morning before the keynote session, it's going to be obviously busier. The good news is that we, over the last couple of years, have gone to using a lot of these kiosks that we have set up throughout the convention center floor, and there'll be one in the Westgate Hotel as well. So those are very convenient to use. You can go up and use the barcode scanner on your registration confirmation, or it'll even let you search by your name and company information and get your badge printed at one of those kiosks. Or you can come visit us in registration and we'll take care of you there as well. Dress code. People always ask, is there a specific dress code for the show? And there isn't. You're going to see people in shorts and jeans and t-shirts, and you're going to see people in business suits, as well as obviously their company branded gear is an important option, or one that they choose regularly. But the main important thing is that you're going to want to dress comfortably and wear very comfortable shoes. On average, you're probably going to be walking 5 to 10 miles a day. Most people will say to bring, 2 to 3 pairs of shoes that are broken. Don't buy a pair of shoes 2 days before the show and then decide that you're going to wear them there. You're going to want to break those in ahead of time, and then again, maybe have a couple different options to change into as well. Now, when we get ready to talk about the show floor and making things a priority there, Jill, how do you, what's your plan? How do you prioritize what you're going to do on the show?
So on the show floor, we have a meeting before we leave, and we talk to our production staff in the back. We find out what equipment's breaking down, what needs to be replaced. And for our salespeople, we talk to them about maybe something that people are calling about we don't have. Is that maybe something we want to consider getting in? And also, what are we being oversold or sold out on? And we make a plan from there, and we go the first day on the show floor, we go and visit all the vendors that have what we want, and just develop a relationship if we haven't met them before, introduce ourselves, and then afterwards we'll make a plan on where we want to go back for the next day and do our purchasing on the second day.
Okay. So the good news is that we have a really convenient app that you can download onto your cell phone. And there's one for Apple or Android. The app isn't active just quite yet, but if you download the ARA Show app, you'll see the information in there from the other few years. But there is a convenient map of the show floor in there. And then you can actually kind of mark which exhibitors you want to see and make that as a plan to make sure you visit those. A lot of people do recommend, you front load those so that you don't run out of time. As you're walking the show floor, you're probably going to see or run into other opportunities or vendors you want to visit, such as service providers, software companies, things like that you might not have initially planned to spend some time with. So just make sure you allow yourself adequate time to visit those vendors that you really want to see. The other thing that I want to recommend is that you walk the perimeter of the show floor. Yes, a lot of the main vendors with the big booths are anchored in the middle of the show floor there, but that outer edge is where some of those newer vendors are with the new products that are kind of breaking into rental. So just, take a few extra minutes and walk that perimeter if you have the time. Take a look at those new products that you might otherwise miss out on if you don't, spend that minute walking around out there. Early January, we will be mailing out the show directory with the RM magazine, and that is going to have a nice map of the convention center and the show floor. So recommend bringing that with you, or if you forget it, we will have some extra copies on site as well. Obviously, bags are important. You're going to get some takeaways, some giveaways, things like that. We give out bags. A lot of vendors give out bags. Everybody's bag is going to look the same. So some people recommend grabbing your own bag and maybe sticking, the other bags inside of that, or maybe even using an Apple AirTag in case you leave your bag in a booth, especially if you plan to bring your laptop or some other materials with you that you might not otherwise want to leave behind or lose, because it quite easily, you can be distracted and walk away without your bag. So just something else to maybe consider, as well as additional charger for your phones. For some reason, the Wi-Fi in the convention centers and stuff will seem to drag your battery. So that might be something you want to consider, is bringing that extra charger along as well. Another point would be financing. Obviously there's a lot of vendors there offering some special rates and terms. And if you're planning on financing, one of the best practices might be to arrange that in advance. But if not, be sure to have all your financial information accessible, on your cell phone, on your laptop, whatever the case may be. You're going to want to have your balance sheet, your P&L, your credit history, just to help smooth and speed up that process so that you can take advantage of some of those special offers. Jill, what if a vendor isn't budging on their price and you're trying to buy something from them? Do you have any advice?
Well, sometimes that happens. Most of them usually have a show special. We usually, I think on average, we get about at least 10% off. But if they don't have one, or you're wanting something more, we always get swag from our vendors, and the guys back here like their hoodies and coffee mugs and all the fun stuff they give, or perhaps there's an accessory to whatever you're buying they could throw in. So it's not always money, but there might be something else they can do.
Great. That's good advice. Like, don't give up. Ask for something, right? And then I guess, like last but least, well, not really last but least, but, make a point to come by the ARA booth. Visit with our education team and our advisory committee and membership. And surrounding our booth is going to be our affinity partners like our James Waite Legal and our insurance, and some Card Connect, some of those other partners that we have. So make sure you stop by the booth. We always are more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. In addition, the show team put together a really nice safety best practices sheet. It's something that they spent some good time and consideration as far as how to keep our members safe, which is really important. You're out traveling in a city that you might not be familiar with. Some people are traveling alone. So there's some really good best practices. And again, this is on the show website. Take a few minutes, review that information. One of the things I'd never considered that I read on there it just really was like, wow, why didn't I ever think of that before, was, we often carry around our hotel key in the sleeve that they give you with your room number on it. Well, if you drop that, somebody can go get into your room and like be waiting for you by the time it's deactivated. So they're like, take a picture of like that. If you're afraid you're going to forget what room number you're in, take a picture of that or something on your cell phone and get rid of that envelope. Something simple like that. So just take a look at that safety sheet. It's really important to us that everybody stays safe at the show. Jill, before we end today, if there's one, I guess, what was the best piece of advice you ever got from somebody at the show, or you ever walked away from the ARA show with?
Well, one thing I was unsure of when we first started is, what is town hall? Like, I didn't know what that was. So I went one year and I was just blown away that these are rental people up on a panel, and they're sharing their greatest success and their worst failure, often with a great sense of humor. So it's entertaining, and at the same time, there's usually always a question and answer period, and I would be shocked if they didn't answer your question. They're extremely open and they're eager to share their experiences, and I was just blown away by the openness of how rental people are with each other. And so there was that, but I do want to add that there's been years where I haven't pre-read what the educational sessions are going to be at, and then I'm panicking in that 15 minutes between sessions, which one am I going to go to, and I'm trying to read. So I always make sure now that I know which ones I'm going to, and I planned ahead. And like Shannon said, if there's more than one of us going, split up, and there's maybe something you could bring back to the other person, and just be prepared ahead of time. There'll be some information coming out, and make sure you read it. Yeah.
That is great advice. And I'm glad you mentioned town halls, because we are going to have a couple of those out on that diamond lot as well. I believe those are on Thursday. And those are on the schedule on the show website too. And as you mentioned, those are always fun to listen to. There's going to be segmented one. So there'll be one for the equipment segment and one for the event rental segment. So that definitely would be something to check out as a first-time attendee of the show as well, or anybody. You don't even have to be a first-time attendee. Those are always a very interesting education session, in my opinion. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to some questions. Anybody have anything they want to ask?
I think I saw one come across the bottom. Someone was asking about the ages for the young professionals, and that's 18 to 40. Oh, sorry, I think there was another one there. I missed it.
Flip was just saying he had to go.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything they need? Anybody need hotel information? Everybody got everything figured out as far as the hotels go? Those are listed on the show website as well. Okay. I'll go ahead and put my email address in the chat just in case anybody does have some follow-up questions. You can certainly reach out. And otherwise, thank you for your time today and for joining us. And Jill, thank you for sharing your show knowledge with us and experiences.
Thank you for listening.